Hey everybody, it's Taylor with Royal Gorge Anglers in Canyon City, Colorado, the only Orvis endorsed outfitter and oldest fly shop and guide service on the Arkansas River Basin. Thanks so much for viewing today. It is March 1st and almost shirt sleeve weather here today in Canyon City. I'm right above the First Street Bridge on the Canyon City Riverwalk here on the Arkansas River Freestone. Gorgeous day. We've got highs in the 70s for the next 2 or 3 days, and then kind of back to more springtime weather on the Arkansas. Just took a quick stroll, fished for a few minutes, and took a quick seine sample, a single pull with the seine, and wanted to show you what I pulled up here on the Arkansas. Really kind of cueing what's to come here in the next several weeks, and really what we've already seen over the last several days with this warm-up, and that is the stonefly molt season on the Arkansas River Freestone. Also, we've got a lot of mature Baetis, blue-winged olive nymphs, in the water column, drifting, even seeing a few BWOs on the surface here this morning. Not that substantial hatch that we typically do see later in March, but we're getting there. And pretty amazing to come out of a really cold week last week. Took 3 or 4 warm days to really get us back up and running. Our guides are already seeing great productivity both in Canyon City and upstream in Bighorn Sheep Canyon. One of our guides had a 20+ fish day yesterday on stoneflies alone, so you know that the molt is happening, stoneflies are active, and I'm going to show you an example here in just a second. Right now, the Arkansas is flowing about 350 CFS through Bighorn Sheep Canyon and through Canyon City, about 200+ CFS on the upper basin, which is still pretty cold right now, folks. Really, if you're coming in the month of March, you want to focus on the Salida area downstream through the Canyon City area for best success. The most BWO activity, the most stonefly activity, cranefly larvae, so on and so forth, that's all going to occur in Bighorn Sheep Canyon, Canyon City, and the Salida area, at least in the first 3 weeks of March. Then things will kind of ramp up upstream, and we'll see some more productive days up in the upper elevations. Let's take a quick look at this seine sample. Again, I dipped the net once, and so we've got a lot of bugs in this bowl here from one single seine sample. Pretty amazing how healthy the aquatic invertebrate population here in the Arkansas River Freestone is here in Canyon City. Just really will be a testament to why this fishery is so productive. So like I said, trusty seine always in my back pocket here as a guide on the Arkansas River. To truly know what's going on, we've got to understand these bugs and what they're doing throughout the seasons. And so just took a quick dip, a single dip in this gorgeous riffle right here behind me. Just heavily oxygenated. The bug life should be prolific, and obviously is from a single dip. I've got a great base here. We've got a big Pacifica stonefly, our golden stonefly here. Just a gorgeous representation of that stonefly nymph, which is extremely prolific in the Arkansas River. We've got a lot of free-swimming caddis larvae, which is very typical that they're very active in the early springtime. And then just look at all of these BWO nymphs. You can see them. You've got an active swimmer right here, little BWO, another little BWO just shot out of there. You see all these guys swimming hard. Those are our blue-winged olive nymphs, our Baetis. And we've got a lot of immature stonefly nymphs. We've also got some isoperlas, some yellow Sally nymphs. So just an incredible representation. A few case caddis in there. Pretty amazing that in a single seine sample, a single dip, we've got this going on. And truly, this is why this trout population is thriving in the Arkansas River Basin. Longest gold medal river in North America. And this here is the reason, folks. This feeds the trout population. This allows for dense trout population and also rapid growth in this beautiful Arkansas River. Alrighty, folks, and now we're off the river and back in the fly shop. And now that we've had a chance to look at the real thing, I think it only makes sense to go to the fly case and pull a few key patterns. All of these patterns that we're looking at here will be key producers for our guides here in the early spring window. And really that will be throughout the month of March and into April. As we start to see more caddis activity in mid to late April, we'll of course change things up, but these are going to be flies you want to focus on here in the early spring window on the Arkansas Freestone Basin. And will really do very well for you from Canyon City all the way through the headwater as things come around on the upper basin as well. So obviously we've got, some key, patterns within the stonefly category to look at. We saw that big old stonefly in the seine sample, and these are going to be very similar, obviously, both size, profile, and coloration. This is what's called a tongue stone. That's John Barr's pattern. A little bit more of an attractor style, but still in the same color range on that lighter stonefly side. This guy here is called a problem child. That's Charlie Craven's pattern. Both of these are size 12. The stonefly in the seine sample was probably a number 8, but I try to find that happy medium. You've got stoneflies throughout the 8 through 16 range, so I like something right kind of in the middle typically. A rubber leg style in that lighter colored golden stonefly. This is Pennington's improved stonefly rubber leg. And then you want that darker color as well, because as the stoneflies, continue to molt, they are changing color throughout the day. So you do want to change that up as needed. Here's just a standard prince nymph with 2 tungsten beads, a double bead prince nymph. That's one of my go-tos for a darker colored stonefly. Rubber leg darker here. This is a stone bomb. This is a key producer for us here on the river throughout the year. And then don't forget also your crane fly larva. We did have one crane in that sample, an immature crane fly, but these will be key for you, size 8 through 12. This is the same pattern. It's called a Mochek nymph, a Euro style fly. But this is a lighter colored crane here in the more tan. This is an olive colored crane. We produce really a lot of fish in the spring window on crane flies, and you'll begin to see crane flies hatching also. Also in the spring window, always keep in mind that your annelids will fish well. So have a worm or 2 in your box. These are great patterns here, tied on a jig. Heavy tungsten bead gets your rig down, both red and brown San Juan. Definitely something to have in your box. Then as we move on, you'll remember in the sample we had a lot of free swimming caddis larvae. So we've got a roller caddis size 14, we've got a Barr's uncased caddis size 14, 16, and we've got a GTI caddis. Those all 3 will be great producers as we move through the spring season and kind of close on that heavy caddis activity. BWO nymphs, now we move into that category, and definitely plenty of those in the seine sample. This is Juan Ramirez's Slim Shady in a purple color. This is an Anatome, one of my favorites, and very similar to our seine sample BWOs. And then a 2-bit hooker light olive, one of my key producers in the early spring as well. All size 18 through 20 on your BWO beta nymphs. Now, as we move through the month of March, we're going to see more and more hatching blue-winged olives, especially on the lower basin. these are going to be your emerger patterns, and really key to have in your box, folks. This is a smoke jumper baetis here. We've got a batwing blue-winged olive here. And then we've got Dwayne Redford's butt crack baetis, which is one of my favorites. Then our adults, our dry fly category, Rocky Mountain Mint in a purple body. Love that in the olive body as well. We've got a flag done, which is called a split flag here. One of my favorite kind of slight profile BWO dries. And then Ken Morsh's Mayday. That's a size 19. That's on a competition hook. Okay. So those are your adults and your emergers within the blue-winged olive category. And those will be key to have on hand, whether you're coming tomorrow, here in early March, or through the month of March and into April. Don't forget that during caddis season, we fish a lot of blue-winged olives. Don't forget that key bug, okay? Now, here throughout the spring, fish will continue to feed heavily on midges, especially early in the morning. You've got a black beauty here. That's going to be a midge larva representation. We've got a rojo midge, which is more of a midge pupa. Okay, we've got a money midge, back to that midge larva in a red style. And then Top Secret, Pat Dorsey's Top Secret midge, more of a midge pupa. Okay, and then always have a midge adult on hand as well. I do love to fish midge dries when there are a lot of midges on the water. On bright sunny days in March, you'll see a lot of midges on the water, and you will see fish keyed to them from time to time. This is called Theo's Melting Pot Midge. It's one of my favorites, and I'll even drown that and fish it deep. All right, other than that, have a few streamers on hand, because as water temps exceed the 40-degree range, fish will get into chase mode from time to time, and we can have some really good streamer days in March and early April. So I do like to keep it in the more natural colored zone. This is a Kelly Gallup's Nancy P, one of my favorites in the natural color. I love that in olive as well. And then Michael Bennett's Lunch Money in more of a brown trout kind of natural color on that streamer. Alrighty, folks. So hopefully a look at those beautiful stream conditions here this morning on March 1st will be intriguing to a lot of you. There are so many great options on the Arkansas Freestone in early March, and things just get better and better as we move through the month of March and into April with more and more bug activity. But right now, with stonefly mold activity ramping up exponentially, fish will be on the feed. They spent all winter relatively dormant, eating midges and deep tail outs, areas of least resistance, and then bang, the switch gets flipped, in early spring, and that's right where we're at. Those stoneflies really cue the opening to that early spring window, and fish react. They start to feed heavily, and we'll start to see fish move into riffles more, especially as radiant heat warms the water column. We get more consistent water temperature. Look for those really nice weather days, obviously, but we'll continue to see fishing consistent even on days, in the 40s and high 30s. As soon as we get strings of warmer weather, those fish continue to feed hard, and we've got some great opportunities. And then obviously, as we move into the end of March, there's a lot of 60 and 70 degree days, especially here in the Banana Belt towards the Canyon City side of the river, Bighorn Canyon. Things will be really enjoyable on the weather side. And not to say that there aren't some snowstorms in our future. I sure hope there are, so we can pad that snowpack. But we're going to have a lot of great weather upcoming. The next few days in the first week of March, we're going to have 70s, pretty amazing. So great opportunities for you. Stonefly molt activity, BWO activity, your blue-winged olives will just continue to ramp up. That life cycle activity will continue to ramp up through the month of March. And then as we move into April, those free-swimming caddis and those case caddis, the Brachycentrus occidentalis, will become more and more active, and we'll start to see that hatch activity towards tax day. And so, you know, be ready for all of that, but a lot of great days between now and then to be had on North America's longest gold medal fishery, the Arkansas Basin between Canyon City and Leadville. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a shout anytime, 888-994-6743, extension 1 for the fly shop, extension 2 for the guide office. Our guide service is already extremely busy in the springtime, as well as kind of prime summer dates. So if you'd like to get on the calendar, I do encourage you to do that well in advance. We do have some availability in the month of March and April, but it's getting slimmer and slimmer each passing day. So if you'd like to get on the water, learn more about the Arkansas Basin, whether it be the freestone or the tailwater, which both will be fishing exceptionally well through the spring, give us a holler. Our guides are very experienced, and I think they can take your skill set to the next level if that's something you'd like to do. We're always here to help you in the fly shop, hopefully point you in the right direction, get you the right bugs. We've got a lot of great new spring gear in stock. The fly shop is well stocked and ready to serve you. We'll hope for continuing, precipitation here in the state, and especially on the Arkansas River Basin, as we sit at about 85% of average on snowpack. And hopefully we'll see some more storms this spring. But like I said, a lot of nice days to be had on the Arkansas River in the month of March and through April, and obviously into spring prime time. We hope to see you in the fly shop, and do contact us at any time. If we can help, we will sure do our best to do that. And thanks so much for viewing today. Again, this is Taylor with Royal Gorge Anglers. Have a safe day on the river.